Welcome to The Shoreline, brought to you by Shores and Islands, Ohio, where finding your Lake Erie love is a sure thing. Thank you for joining us. I am your host, Jill Bauer, PR Manager for Shores and Islands, Ohio. Joining me again today as co-host is Meaghan Reynolds, Shores and Islands, Ohio Social Media Manager. Hi, Meaghan.
Hi, Jill. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. How are you today?
Doing well, too. Thank you.
Good. Well, we bring you The Shoreline every week to give you the inside scoop on what's happening here in our island and coastal communities. So, Meaghan, welcome back. We've made it to the last week of April, and it will be May before the end of the week, which is so exciting. There's just something about the month of May that feels like the start of something amazing to me. How about you?
Oh, I couldn't agree more. And it's just so wild how time is flying by and all of the exciting things that are about to open.
Oh, for sure. We've got some big events coming up this week, especially. We've got our Shores and Islands, Ohio annual meeting this week. It's happening at the Liberty Aviation Museum. Keep an eye out for a future episode because we are going to be gathering some testimonials from our Shores and Islands partners at that meeting and putting them all together into a compilation episode for the future. We've got Governor's Bird Ohio Day on Friday, and then on Saturday is Cedar Point's opening day. We're going to be hearing all about what's new at Cedar Point shortly, but first, Meaghan, last week you filmed me for an upcoming social media video where you asked me about my favorite Cedar Point memory. So now I'm going to turn the tables on you. So what's your favorite Cedar Point memory?
I see what you're doing. Oh, goodness. So many favorite Cedar Point memories, but being that I was born and raised in the Cleveland area, we would definitely take a weekend in the summers to come up to Cedar Point to just spend a weekend as a family. And I think one of my favorite memories is, I'm a little sister. I have three older brothers, and we would go on the pirate ride, and they like to make it a little bit more spookier than it really was. And it was just, I was scared, but it was also so much fun and just something that I always think of whenever I'm at the park too.
What did those mean boys do to you?
Oh, just like poked me around and made noises to kind of make me jump a little bit more than I needed to, threatened to throw me off the boat, all the fun things that brothers do.
Off the boat into like 2 inches of water? We didn't know that when we were little.
Right, it was terrifying. You're gonna go down.
Oh my gosh, I remember the pirate ride as well. That was a core memory unlocked that I actually have not thought about in so long. But for
It was
me,
a
it
great
was
one.
more like junior high. Like that was the place where you would try to get boys to go with you.
That's awesome.
Not for anything sketchy, but it was just like that was where you would hang out in line and try to, meet guys from the other areas and whatnot. I was never terribly good at it. I never never had a Cedar Point boyfriend or anything like that. But I did make up a lot of fake names. I remember, we were never telling guys our real names or where we were from or our real ages for that matter.
What? Okay, what's a fake name? Do you have one on hand?
Sky. I was always Sky. I don't know why. I don't know where that came from, but I do remember that. So,
I love this.
whatever, middle school memories.
Yep.
So, as always, if you want to know what's going on in Shores and Islands, Ohio, be sure to follow along on all of our social media platforms. If you need more information on planning your getaway, what to do, where to stay, itinerary suggestions, ways to save, all kinds of fun stuff you can find on our website at shoresandislands.com. And today on the podcast, we've got a returning guest who never disappoints. Joining us once again is Tony Clark, Regional Manager of Public Relations, and we can't wait to chat about all things Cedar Point. Now, quick little bio on Tony. Tony oversees the park's media relations and is the official spokesperson for not one, but 3 parks: Cedar Point, Six Flags Great America, and Michigan's Adventure. And I love Tony, I have to just read it as you sent it because I love your description. Since he was a young lad in Wisconsin, going to theme parks like Six Flags Great America has been one of his biggest joys in life. His favorite roller coaster is Millennium Force, the very ride that called him to Ohio back in 2000 as he experienced Cedar Point for the very first time. Tony, a self-proclaimed roller coaster fanatic, enjoys interacting with other theme park fans and loves music, the performing arts, trains, and fresh cut fries, because who doesn't love the fresh cut fries? Welcome to the Shoreline, Tony.
Thank you so much. I wish I had some fresh cut fries while I was sitting with you.
Well, you have better access to them than we do. You could
That's
probably
true.
get some if you needed them.
Well, they're not. That's what's crazy is they sometimes do the taste testing the week we open. So I'm hoping somebody gives me a call here shortly and I can go have some.
Nice. Well, because you've been on a few times, usually when you're on, you're joined by somebody else. I don't think we've spent too much time getting to know you specifically. So,
Oh,
in that vein, I'm just wondering if you wouldn't mind sharing with our listeners a little bit about your background. How did you end up as the communications director at Cedar Point? Your bio mentioned the young lad in Wisconsin. So, give us some backstory.
I was gonna say, did you want to know my alternative name that I used when I came to the park? Since yours is
Yes, of
Sky,
course.
it was just Tony.
Oh, yeah.
Spoiler alert, it's not very exciting. My background is pretty fun. I mean, I grew up in Wisconsin, in Milwaukee to be specific, and I spent my childhood going to Six Flags Great America, and that was our home park, kind of like how Cedar Point is the home park for
Yes.
those in Cleveland, Toledo, Sandusky, Columbus. You know,
Right.
this is where people go to have fun and just hang out and not do the daily stuff. And eventually I got into radio. So I did radio for a few years in back home. And then Cedar Point was hiring a PR person. So I applied and I got the job. And I moved down here and worked in PR for several years. Went back to home in Wisconsin to do television reporting, and I just couldn't get the Cedar Point out of me. They wanted me to come back, and I said sure, and I came back and have been back here since 2013. So now, with the big merger between Six Flags and Cedar Fair, we're now known as the parent company of Six Flags Entertainment Corporation, but we are still the same old Cedar Point you know and love, but that also means that there's opportunity for some of us PR people to cover multiple parks and do the PR for them. So now in a strange twist, I'm doing the PR for Cedar Point and for the park I grew up with. So, but yeah, I now get to do PR for these parks and for Michigan's Adventure. So it's a great job. It's a lot of fun. It does have a lot of challenges. It's not all fun and games, but people think it is all the time. I know on Twitter, I still call it Twitter. On Twitter, I do my thing and I joke and I have a good time. But, it is still a business. We still have things to do. And, our goal is to get a lot of folks here to visit, just like Shores and Islands. So we're happy to be a part of the area. We're happy to be a part of the organization, and I'm happy to talk about Cedar Point anytime somebody asks me. So it's a good
Oh, of
thing you
course.
invited me back. And is this the fourth time or
Fourth.
fifth?
Yes. Nope. This is
Just
appearance number
remember
4 for Tony.
when it's appearance number 5, you have to do exactly what SNL does. I need a 5-timer,
We need to get a jacket.
yes, I need the velvet coat. So put that on your list of things to do.
Okay, so Meaghan, add to the list that we will not be inviting Tony back anytime soon.
I see.
Noted.
The jacket. That's fine. That's fine.
Noted. Or maybe I'm making it right now. Who knows? All right, so let's get into what to expect at Cedar Point for the 2025 season. So you've got some big coaster news. Let's start with Top Thrill 2, since we anticipate that being open this weekend for opening day. Can you give us a little bit of an update there?
Yeah, so Top Thrill 2, as many of our fans know, opened last year. We were open for about, I would say, 10 days total in the manufacturer, who, by the way, makes a lot of the calls on a lot of our rides. They're the ones that, they build the rides, they engineer them, they set height requirements, they do all those things. So we kind of have to listen to what they say. They said, what, we want to make some modifications to the trains. So they did that. We closed the ride. We did some testing over the winter, and we are set to welcome guests on it this weekend. That is the plan. So exciting to have a lot of new riders get on Top Thrill 2, and we would anticipate that most of our guests have not had a chance to ride it. So when you think about it, we have generally speaking, two brand new coasters in 1 year, which is not normal. So
Right.
You're going to have a lot of folks that get to experience two world-class rides. And Top Thrill 2, I can tell you it's amazing. I personally think it's better than the original. The original definitely was very, very amazing for what it was and for the technology that it had, but the experience was very short. It was about 17 seconds. The launch clearly was what really got people going, from 0 to 120 in about 4 seconds. But now what we've done is elongated the ride. So now it's a longer experience. You get to launch forward at 74 miles per hour. You roll backwards, which is what a lot of people hoped would happen when they rode the previous version. You roll backwards, and then you get launched backward at 101 miles per hour, which is the fastest launch in reverse in the world. And I'll tell you, it will take your breath away. I didn't know what it was going to feel like, and then when I actually experienced it, I was like, whoa, that's something else. It's different. And then you get launched straight up into the air at a 90-degree angle on an all-new 420-foot vertical tower. So you're staring straight down at the ground, and then gravity takes over again, pulls you forward, and then you launch up to 120 miles per hour up the 420-foot tall tower. That's the original, over the top, down a 270-degree spiral, and then into the finish line. So now we're at about, minute and a half to 2 minute experience when it used to be 17 seconds. So this is definitely a much better experience. It's a broader experience, and I think it still is as much fun to watch as the previous version. So if you're a non-rider, you don't like to do the high thrills, you can still sit in the grandstand and you can still watch your family and friends ride while you hold all of their things, which is also a good benefit of bringing somebody who does not like to ride.
I feel called out.
Now, you know what? There's rides for everybody here.
No, that is totally me, though. I love sitting in the bleachers there and watching people. Top Thrill is not for me. I'm more of a mild coaster person, but just I love that you legitimately listened to the fans. That whole rollback thing when it was happening on the original coaster, I used to look at that and think, oh no, that's a mistake. It didn't get over. Can you imagine rolling backwards? But people loved it and they
I know.
hoped for it. Crazy people.
Yeah, the system, and what's crazy is the system itself, that the computer system, the technology behind the previous version, it calculated an average of every three launches. So it's constantly doing an average, and it determined how much energy it needed to launch the train. So if you had a train that was empty and then you filled it with a bunch of people, the system's going to go, oh, that's weird. That now I have to reset. But the goal, or the best part, is you get to benefit from the rollback if it doesn't reset fast enough. So that's no longer a thing, but it's because everybody gets it now. Everybody gets to roll backward.
Oh, that's so much fun. So, of course, again, also this year, you mentioned 2 roller coaster experiences. So
Mhm.
you're also debuting the brand new Siren's Curse, billed
Yeah.
as the tallest, fastest, and longest tilt coaster in North America. Tell us all about Siren's Curse.
So this is going to be a special one because you don't see many of these coasters in North America, nor do you see them really in the world. I know there's one that has been operating for many, many years, and I believe it's in China. Here in the US, there are 2 of them that are going to debut this year. Ours is the tallest, fastest, and longest. And this experience is defined by what we call the tilt track. So you're going to get into these awesome, comfortable trains. You're going to go up the lift hill. You're going to then get moved into a portion of the track, and it looks like there's no end on it. It just cuts off. So you get locked into place onto this piece of track, and then much like you rode a seesaw on the playground, and you and your friend just took turns, using your feet and going back and forth. This piece of track will then detach from the track you were just on. It'll tilt forward at a 90-degree angle. So you're hanging there 90 degrees, you will lock into place, and then once that happens, your ride begins and you start traveling through all of the twisted track. And I compare the layout and the speed and the change in direction. It's close in from what I haven't had a chance to really get on it yet. So I'm just going to imagine it's like Maverick. So if you like the quick turns, quick twists, quick changes in direction, you're going to love the Siren's Curse layout. It goes upside down twice. It's got a lot of airtime on it, and the trains are going to be really cool because they have not only really neat LED lighting on the side that can be programmed to do whatever we'd like them to do, but it also has onboard audio. So we're going to tell that story unlike any other coaster at the park. So you're really going to be, we use the word immersed and immersion a lot. So you really are going to be immersed in this because the audio is really going to drive the experience. So we're looking forward to having that open and getting folks on that. We still anticipate an early summer opening. And as soon as we have an opening date, we'll tell everybody on our social media. So make sure you're following us, and we will get people on there, including myself, as soon as possible. I'm excited to ride it, even though I'm terrified. I am a little terrified of it. The whole tilt track thing is just because it looks like it's not going to, your train's not going to stay on there. But trust me, it is. We're going to actually share with our guests how that system works so that, you're not afraid of it. And, these things are very safe. They put a lot of work into engineering into making sure that everything goes the way it's supposed to. So you're going to see it. You're going to love it. I think it's going to be another great ride to watch if you don't like to ride. So Jill, you're probably going to sit at the bottom and watch people. Yes.
Are there bleachers on this one?
No bleachers, but there's plenty of spots to see to watch the drop.
Okay, good.
It's just right in front of the Cedar Point and Lake Erie Railroad Station. So, there's plenty of spots to watch that first drop.
I'm not going to lie. I love watching roller coasters.
Me too.
I especially love watching the people on the roller coasters. So that's going to be phenomenal for me to just enjoy watching.
And even if it's not the rides, the people watching in general is fun. You just pull up a park bench and see everybody from all over the world coming to visit Cedar Point. It's pretty cool. I love watching people ride. I love watching people watch shows and kids having their first ride and getting measured and getting to ride all the big rides for the first time. All that stuff is just so much fun to experience.
Coming up with their fake names.
Coming up with fake names, yes. Flirting with the boys, apparently, right? Is that what the goal was, I guess?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, yes. So you'll find Sky and I watching everybody that are on Siren's cruise. That's where we'll be.
Yeah, I'm sure the school groups that still come, they do the same thing. It's when you find your first love sometimes. You never know.
You never know. No. So as if, 2 roller coasters aren't enough, you've got even more new things to debut this season. Would you be able to talk to us about the new main gate photo station and then anything else that we should be looking out for in the park this year?
Well, there's actually a lot of things. The main gate photos. So when you walk in the front gate, once you come through the gates, in front of the carousel, there was the 150th anniversary sign. It was this larger than life, huge sign with the numbers on it that you could stand in front of, get your photo taken. Great place to take a family memory photo, like every year. Great angles to take pictures, and the carousel in the background is so cool. So we had that up there for a few years because we were pretty proud of the 150th anniversary. We wanted to leave it up there because we were still 100. We still surpassed the 150. So we thought this is really cool. But now we decided it's time to move on. So that sign is being replaced, and it'll just have the Cedar Point logo on it. It'll still be just as big, and it'll be lit up. It'll have the same kind of lighting on it, but it'll give you now a new place to take a photo when you enter the park. Up front there's some little things we're changing. The Redemption Center, which is off to the left, where you would get things like your fast lane, your dining plan, those sorts of things. We're expanding that so we can serve guests faster over there. Nice. And then throughout the park, there's going to be a lot of little changes that you see, whether it's some paint and upkeep or new food locations. Like one of my things I'm looking forward to is the Happy Friars renovation. And this is where the fresh cut fries are made, so I'm invested in it.
That was literally in your bio.
Yes. So the Happy Friar location, which is right across from Gemini on the Gemini Midway, it was getting a little old, so it was time to refresh it, and it has now been redone. And we've changed the service, the way we serve our guests there. So you used to walk up to the counter, you had to wait in a long line there. And it was all an outdoor experience. Well, now we're bringing you inside, and we're going to serve the fries cafeteria style. So much like some of our other restaurants, we've added these queues inside the buildings. So like your backbeat queue, if you've been in there, if you've been in down in Frontier Town at the Farmhouse Kitchen and Grill, that cafeteria style, which will make the serving go much faster. So we'll be able to serve more guests. Get you out to enjoy your fresh cut fries, and you can still sit outside on the patio and enjoy that deliciousness. And if I tell people, if there's one, Tony, they always ask me, what's the one food I should try when I'm at Cedar Point? And I always say it's the fresh cut fries, because the elephant ears are a close second for me, but It's always the fresh cut fries. They're just so good. They're hot. They're fresh. The toppings are wonderful, and the culinary team does a good job of doing some alternative toppings when we have special events and things like our Happy Friars Fresh Cut Fries Fest, which comes a little bit after Labor Day.
You said that really well without even tripping on it.
That's because I made up the name. We sat around and decided that was going to be the name, and Happy Friar is the mascot, and Fresh Cut Fries Fest sounded like a good thing, and that's when they kind of go over the top. But what's good about that is you never know. The culinary team may say, well, let's do limited time flavors. Let's do limited time toppings. And they might decide to do that during the summer and not wait till Happy Friar's Fresh Cut Fries Fest. So that's another great advantage of the way that we're going to be serving guests in this location. because of that customization. That's what people like. But we're still gonna have the classics. Don't worry. You get your plain. You can get your buffalo. You can get your salt or your vinegar. You put your vinegar toppings on. Chili cheese fries. Those will all still be there. So we're really excited about that.
So I'm anticipating, because you mentioned kind of cafeteria style, you could start out, with your basket of fries, and as you go down the line, have them add different things to it.
If they wanted to, yeah. I haven't, like I said, I'm still waiting for the call. I haven't had a chance to go over there and actually kick the tires on the new building and facility. But yes, that's the theory, is that just like, the other restaurants that we have where they have that kind of setup, you go down the line and they may have different toppings, for your fries. Now you can't just, I will say this, I don't believe they're just going to say, yeah, put whatever you want on there and, we'll weigh it at the end or those kinds of things.
Right. They'll have recipes.
Yeah, you're still going to have to choose from the typical recipes that we have. But if we wanted to have crazy fry toppings and different flavors, they do have the ability to change that out and make it a custom experience.
That's so fun. So another aspect of Cedar Point, by the end of this month, Memorial Day weekend to be exact, Cedar Point Shores, the water park, will be open for the season. And as I understand, there's also some new slides planned for Cedar Point Shores.
Yeah, see, that's if you don't want to spend time in the amusement park, you can go over to the water park where
Absolutely.
we if you visited in 24, you may have seen this tower that was kind of randomly the stairs to nowhere, stairway to heaven, if you will, with no slides on it. We finally have 2 new slides that we're adding to that tower. So the cool thing is these are newer versions of tube slides that have translucent panels on the top of them. So I've always wanted one of these at Cedar Point because I just think the experience is really cool. Most tube slides, you go in and it's in the dark and you're not really sure what's going on. Well, this new technology, these translucent pieces of fiberglass on top of the water slide, as you're going down them at speed, you get this really cool lighting effect over your head, and they do different patterns and different colors and shapes. So that's going to be a first for us. But those 2 slides will debut when the water park opens Memorial Day weekend, and they're going to be on the cross current tower. So very exciting to have an addition there, and they have 2 roller coasters essentially over at the amusement park.
That's awesome.
Nice. That is awesome. And then back to the park, there's a brand new slate of live entertainment planned for this season. What can we look forward to?
Yeah, so our entertainment team is always trying to figure out, what is the best way to get entertainment to the people. And we have traditional theaters, which, sometimes people don't even know we have shows. It has been a struggle since I started here. We had the team we have to kind of like bring people into the theaters because they're just not used to, they go right to the big rides. They don't really spend time to see exactly what's around every corner. So we're still going to have traditional shows inside theaters. But, one of the big questions we got with Siren's Curses, since you're taking down that big main stage, are you going to, produce that show somewhere else? And for those of you who don't know, there was the Celebration Plaza was the area that Siren's Curse is in right now. And there was a giant stage. We used to do a nighttime show to kind of end the night. And it was a popular show, but we had to make way for this ride. So the stage was removed, and we're changing like the entrance to Iron Dragon over there and adding more queue there. So the shows kind of have to spread out. So we cover a lot of that in things like Boardwalk Nights, which is one of our biggest summer events that we have. It's going to be the 2nd year. Lots of circus acts, circus style acts, lots of great food, beverage, live music. It's bringing the shows out to the Midway is really something that we've made a goal to do, and they've done a great job of doing that. One of the funniest ones I heard when they said the concepts was the Wild Mice, which is a live brass band, and we've had brass bands throughout our history, but they're going to wander around and play some traditional favorites, brass band style. So that's an awesome show I'm looking forward to. Lusty Lil's Western Road Show coming to Frontier Town. And that's usually a nice variety of music and entertainment. If you like the classic rock, Rock This Way is coming to the Red Garter Saloon. And we also have Country Crossroads live at the Palace, in the Palace Theater in Frontier Town. That's a live band with vocalists singing classic and contemporary country. So lots of variety for those who are looking for the musical side and for those that don't ride. We always tell people that too. This is a great way to take a break from the rides, or if you're not a huge fan of all the thrill rides, you can watch shows, you can eat delicious food, relax on the beach, ride the Cedar Point and Lake Erie Railroad, one of my favorites because I love trains, and all these other activities that are not just rides. You don't have to do rides and coasters only. You got lots of great entertainment options here too.
Yeah, I really appreciate all of the entertainment options. It gives you, an opportunity to take a break if you
Mhm.
need to. It gives you an opportunity if you've got kids to have them take a break and calm down, grab a bite to eat, but still, be entertained. I also have a future entertainer in my family who will probably end up being one of those
Mm.
performers someday. Like, appreciate seeing those shows. And I come from a family of huge Cedar Point fans who do not need to be reminded that there are shows. Like, that's why my family often goes to Cedar Point or went to Cedar Point in general. Like, that was number one. The
Yeah.
coasters were secondary.
Yeah, yeah, and we attract talent from all over the country. The auditions we usually have, we have a few here at the park over the winter. They usually start in November, right after the season closes. But our entertainment team goes to all of these different colleges that specialize in the arts. They go to different events where they have kind of they're like bulk auditions where there's different companies looking for talent, and you go and sing and perform and dance for all these different amazing companies, and we're very fortunate to find some great talent that love not only the music that they're doing and the performing that they're doing, but Cedar Point as well. This is a place people remember going to since they were kids. Their grandparents remember, their great grandparents remember, and to be a part of the legacy while doing what you love to do is something that they don't take for granted. So they're always very talented. Their shows are fantastic, and I truly look forward to them every year. And this year should be no exception, especially Boardwalk Nights.
Love that one too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so hard to wrap your head around what that event is because everyone's like, tell us about it. And I said, well, if I had to wrap it up in one sentence, I would say there's something happening everywhere you look at every minute of the evening, and that's exactly what it is. And it's these entertainment performers that bring it to the table, and they're just awesome.
Well, speaking of Boardwalk Nights, real quick, and you don't have to know the exact dates, but what special events do you have coming to the park this year?
Well, yeah, Boardwalk Nights is the first big one that takes place here in early summer. Of course, we have Light Up the Point, the 4th of July fireworks spectacular coming up. We have Hollow Weekends, of course, which is a fan favorite. It's our most popular time of year. Again, credit to the entertainment team for doing all they can with the haunted houses and with the shows and everything they do there. And, then our traditional regular entertainment throughout the summer. The beach is also something that we it's been a part of our history since the beginning. So we try to activate that. And that's really where Boardwalk Nights comes in, because that's when a lot of our performances are actually out there. They have kites. There were kite stunt performers, which I have never seen kites choreographed to music. And I watched it for the first time and I was like, wow, I didn't even know this was a thing. And it's pretty amazing. But even if you just want to chill on the beach and read a book because you don't ride rides, that's another great place to spend some time. So lots of stuff going on all summer from opening day all the way through closing. And, it gives you another reason to come back. If you come back in the spring just to ride a few of your favorites and then come back a month later to enjoy Boardwalk Nights and all the fireworks and the festive activities around that. It's just it's a whole summer full of action and fun.
Oh, absolutely. Well, Tony, can you remind our listeners all about your on and off-site accommodations? Like, how can you
Oh,
be as close to the action as possible?
yeah, we've got 5 properties total here at the park. So a lot of people also ask, what is that building over there? And I always say, which building are you pointing to? And they point at the Hotel Breakers because they think it's an office building.
You're like, what? How do
I know. You didn't know we had hotels? Then I said, well, maybe I'm doing a bad job of talking about it. So let's do a good job of talking about it. 5 different properties. We have Hotel Breakers on site, which is our classic beachfront, beautiful hotel with a ton of amenities, and it's the closest to the gates. You can literally wake up Get out of bed, walk over to the park, and then walk right in and start riding. Lighthouse Point is also on property. That's got cottages and cabins that sleep, I believe, up to 6 to 10 people. And then they have luxury RV sites, which I know RVing is huge. So if you have an RV, you can pull your RV right up there and be right on the property. Then off property, we have Express Hotel, which is the next closest property. That's more of our budget-minded hotel that is, no frills, but you still get all the benefits of staying at a Cedar Point hotel. We have Castaway Bay Indoor Water Park Resort. That is a water park and resort hotel geared more toward young families. This is not the high-thrill water park experience. This is definitely for younger families. And also, by the way, adding Famous Dave's restaurant to Castaway Bay, which will be open year-round, which I am also very excited about. So the barbecue moved off property from Cedar Point. The Famous Dave's.
And it'll be open year round now.
Yeah, and it's out at Castaway Bay, and that will be open all year. So you can get your ribs and all your other delicious barbecue favorites all year round. And then down the street is one of my favorites. It's Sawmill Creek Resort. Sawmill Creek is a beautiful golf course, and it's also a beautiful hotel. And this one's geared more towards adults who are looking for a relaxing getaway. There's a great food on site. You got nature walks right around you, and it's still part of the Cedar Point family. So all of those resorts, if you stay there, you get to enjoy early entry, which is getting into the park an hour before the park opens to enjoy some of the park's biggest rides. You also get discounted ticket packages and things like that. So it's really the best option, I think, if you want to stay near the action. And I'm not saying that as a spokesperson. If you've ever stayed at Hotel Breakers, you know what I'm talking about. Hotel Breakers is it's an experience unlike any other when you stay there. Beautiful rooms, historic property that we redid in 2015, and just the entertainment and there's fire pits outside. You can get out there in the evening and enjoy a cocktail from the bar. The beach is there if you want to go play out on the beach. There's live music. There's activities for the family. So just lots of great stuff to do and great places to stay too while you're here.
Absolutely. Meaghan, is there anything else that you wanted to ask Tony about Cedar Point or the resorts or anything else we were curious about?
I think that, well, actually, Tony, what is your favorite Cedar Point memory besides the fries?
Besides my Cedar Point memory, it's very vivid, actually, and it was my first visit to the park. It's why it's in my bio. Because when I worked at Great America in Chicago, my coworkers would always say, "Oh my gosh, have you been to Cedar Point?" And I would like, "What's Cedar Point?" And they're like, "Oh, it's the greatest amusement park in the world." And I'm like, "Where is it?" They're like, "Ohio." And I'm like, "Yeah, whatever. I'll get there eventually." But I'm also a coaster nerd, so I was watching them build Millennium Force. I had heard the news, and I would check the website to look at the blog and see where their construction progress was. And I thought, you know what, I got to go ride this. I got to go. So in 2000, I made my first trip here, and my first ride was on Millennium Force. And people have said that they've waited like 4 to 5 hours to ride it, which, I don't know if that's completely true, but I did not wait that long. I remember that, but I will always remember that being my first ride that I experienced at Cedar Point. And I had been visiting every year up until 2005 when I was hired for the first time. And now it's literally a part of my life. And I love it. I love everything I do here. I love the people. I love seeing people come to our area and just have a good time. That's the best. I think the smiles. I love when new rides open. I love to just watch people get off the ride and see what their first experience felt like. They're looking at their friends, they're high-fiving, they're smiling, they're screaming, they're clapping. It just makes me feel really good in a world that needs a place, to escape and get away from the everyday. And that's what we are. That's what we always will be. So, hopefully we'll be here for another 150 years. That's the plan, and beyond. And, but man, Millennium Force, number one ride for me, number one memory, and, couldn't leave ever since.
I love it. Sounds like your whole job is just making memories and being able to witness other people making memories.
Yeah, it's a job like any other job is. You guys kind of have the same thing going on. You're promoting all the great things we have to offer in the area, but most of that is fun. But it's still a job. You still have to do your office work. You still have some bad things to deal with, but for the most part, you really do get to share with the world what a great area this is. Because I think you guys, Jill, especially, I am a promoter of the islands, the area, and all of the things to do, because I was not even aware when I first came here that any of that existed. So as I worked here more and more, and got to go on the jet for the first time and see the islands. I was like, holy cow, these are here. So now, I'm even doing the same thing. You guys got to come here. You got to check this out and spend a few days here. And when people come here, Jill, and Megan, you guys know, they come here, they're like, wow, this is not what I expected. And we need to take a trip out here again. And that's kind of, that always feels good too, when people actually have a good time when they're here.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean, nothing makes me feel better than that as well. And I was actually going to ask you that, Tony, about outside of, your life outside of the park, because you are, a great ambassador for the region. And I know you don't get away often, especially in season, but when you do, you get out and frequent other places in the area. And that's really nice to hear.
Put in Bay on a Sunday fun day. That's
There you go.
like my getaways. Go to Put in Bay. I can't go too far during the summer because if they call on me and they need me for something, I can't. I got to be somewhat in reach. But man, I just think we just have so many great things around the area now, and the downtown is about to be revitalized, and it's just really cool. And it's just getting people to make that choice and come, and that's what we're working on. That's what we want people to stay overnight with us, ride new roller coasters, ride the jet. You can even take the jet from Cedar Point during special parts of the season and go over to the islands. You can go see animals at the wildlife safari. I mean, like, there's all kinds of different things that you can do, and it's I love it. You come visit.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't want I'm telling us to come visit. But if you're listening, you need to come visit. It's not just Cedar Point. There's so much other stuff.
That's right. And we are so fortunate that you learned about Millennium Forest from your friends and and fell in love and ended up moving here, because we are so blessed to have you promoting the park and Cedar Point and everything else in the area. So is there anything else, Tony, that you wanted to share today about Cedar Point and this season?
Well, I think that getting if you're listening to this for the first time, maybe, and you're debating if you should visit, a lot of people are doing staycations this year. The economy's all weird and funky, and it just feels it's kind of like 2020 to me all over again. Things don't feel right. You're like, you know what? I don't really. So instead of maybe going far away, maybe come to our region. Come hang out with us for a week. There's lots to do. It's definitely a 2 to 7 day experience, depending on what you're looking to do at Cedar Point, or in, again, the surrounding attractions and the things to do in the area. So, this is the time, I think, to save some money. We got great rates if you're a pass holder. Get a season pass. If you get a gold pass to the park, you can come back several times throughout the year. Even if you're coming 2 or 3 times, it'll pay for itself. So check out our options at cedarpoint.com. You can learn about our hotels. And you can book right online. You can call an agent if you have questions. You can chat online with an agent if you have questions. So we make it pretty easy to get the information that you need. But we're excited to get our season started. And I'm definitely excited to see people in the park again, because right about this time, we're all kind of bummed out and depressed because we've been closed for so long. So the smiles will be coming back, and I'm looking forward to it.
We are as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So just one more time, Tony, can you let our listeners know where they can learn information about Cedar Point and just everything that they need to know? Where can they head to?
Yep, absolutely. You can go to cedarpoint.com. That's our main website, and that's where you'll find out about our ticket prices if you're only coming for one day. By the way, buy online. If you're going to buy, you'll save money off the gate price. Season passes, hotels, you'll learn all about that there. And follow us on social. We're on Facebook. We're on X. We're on Instagram. We're on TikTok. We're on YouTube. So you can definitely find us out there and see what we're talking about and follow our story along.
And watch for the announcement on the opening of Siren's Curse.
Yes. So early summer, once we have a date and we're ready to go, you will see it on our socials first, and there may or may not be a chance to ride it, so I'd have some private time before anybody else. So
awesome.
Keep an eye out there. We always like to support great local charities, and in the process, raise some great money and let a few folks ride the ride for the first time. So keep an eye on our socials.
I love all of these hot tips. So that's a good one. Keep an eye out for that. And we can't wait. Thank you, Tony. Thank you so much for sharing your story and sharing all that's new at Cedar Point with us for the upcoming season.
And Jill and Megan, thank you so much for having me. I look forward to seeing you both on Siren's Curse in the front row.
Are you going to be there, Megan?
I'll get back to you.
No.
I will hold your purse.
I'll ride it with you, Megan. It's fine.
Okay. You have to forgive me for anything I say when going on that.
Yeah, you won't hear it because the audio in the train will cover all that up.
There you go. Perfect.
Okay.
You planned that. I like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Tony. Special thanks to Tony Clark from Cedar Point for joining us today. And thanks as always to Meaghan for assisting. Be sure to like and follow us over on all of the socials for more with Meaghan. And thank you for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed the podcast, please be sure to like and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts so you don't miss a minute of the action here in Shores and Islands, Ohio. You can also find more information, including past episodes of the podcast, online at shoresandislands.com. And we will see you next time on The Shoreline.